slides out there. So the Twitter feed is fine. You have my ugly face to contend with. So it's nice to see somebody from Ogilvy. I spent 4 fun years of my life working there, and then decided to reject everything that it stood for. And so life's been a lot more fun. What I do is I do a couple of things. I help invest in startups. I help grow companies. So I started with a small company in Pune called India Properties in 1999. I've since invested in, helped grow companies like Redbus, Carvale, My Dentist, and so on and so forth. I want to tell you a little bit about how I think brands grow and the kind of role I believe design plays, and why I'm thrilled for this community out here and also slightly scared. After all this, I understand we'll take questions, so it should be fun. There's something really interesting that's happening out there, and I want to talk about, essentially in business. I started out as a graphic designer, then I was a copywriter, a creative director, a filmmaker. I ran marketing at a software company, ran an agency, and became an investor. So it's a good proof that anybody in the creative field has no career plans. And a good example of that out here. But something really interesting, I started out in the 80s, and in any of the businesses that you saw, whether you took cars, you took cement, or you took buildings, or you took construction, something that was pretty common was, even today in the car industry, the world's largest car company is Toyota, which is slightly bigger than the Volkswagen Group, which is slightly bigger than General Motors Group, and which is bigger than Ford, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of competition, and the companies are all bunched up very close by together. Ditto in construction companies, the biggest construction company in India probably has 10% market share, and somebody has 9, and somebody has 7, somebody has 6, and so on and so forth. Ditto in pharmaceuticals, the biggest guy in the world probably has 12% market share, and somebody has 11, and somebody has 10, and so on and so forth. In fact, even the number 10 pharmaceutical guy probably is on Forbes billionaires list or something. This is a world we all grew up in. And then something really interesting started happening about 5-6 years ago in business. Before I come to design, I want to talk about business. And here's what I saw. If instead of cars, I looked at electric cars and looked at luxury electric cars, one brand, Tesla, has 98% market share, and BMW has 0.5% market share. Instead of the old world of fashion, if I come to the new world of fashion, a Calvin Klein has $2 billion in sales, and a Zara has $21.5 billion in sales. If instead of the old world of soft drinks of Coke and Pepsi, where they're neck and neck, I come to energy drinks, a Red Bull has 45% market share, and Coke and Pepsi combined have 10.5% market share. Now let me come to the digital world from this offline world. If I look at social networking, Facebook has 86% market share. If I look at online video, YouTube has 90% market share. I don't know if you can name the number 2, number 3 video companies in the world. If you look at search worldwide, Google has 92% market share. I don't know if you can name the number 2, number 3 companies in search. If I look at mobile chat, WhatsApp has 70% market share. So the point I'm really saying is that contrary to every damn thing that was told to me when I was growing up, that competition is rising, and so on and so forth, the truth is actually dominance is rising. It's the opposite of competition. And that's really, really interesting, and that's really wonderful. And what's even more interesting and even more incredible about all of these brands I talked about, whether it's a Red Bull, or it's a Zara, or it's a Facebook, or it's a Twitter, which, by the way, has 100% market share, or it's an Amazon, which, by the way, outside of China, is 8 times larger than any other e-com company, or or a YouTube, or any of these brands that we talked about. You all heard of these brands. What's really incredible about each and every one of these brands is that they've never advertised. They've never used or bothered about advertising agencies. They'd never come to my ex-employer Ogilvy, or indeed anybody else. In some ways, this entire advertising artifact that I've grown up with, and I've been there since 1983, it's 32 years on today, is something that's almost there for loser brands. The winner brands don't seem to want to bother about it. The other day I read an interview with Jan Koum, the guy who founded WhatsApp, sold his company for $22 billion. And there's 55 people in this company. That's it. About this many people are worth 130,000 crore rupees. And when asked about a marketing department or his marketing strategy, he says, I don't have a marketing department. I don't have a marketing person. Something really interesting and something really wonderful is happening out there in the world. And it's something that actually I've seen firsthand. All of you guys have heard of Redbus. We sold the company 18 months ago when there were 850 crores in revenues. And it's a middle-class product, bus tickets from Pune to Bombay or Bangalore to Chennai. And we had never advertised. Carvale does 60 crores in revenues. We sold it again a few years ago. We'd never advertised. My Dentist does really well. It does 6-7 crores a month. We had 110 stores. Almost never advertised. Increasingly, what we are seeing is the winner brands do a couple of things. They take an extraordinary dominant share of business in that sector, whether it's offline or whether it's online. And they almost, if never need to advertise. And there's something beautiful about it. Now, let's dig a little deeper and say, what has made these brands big? What has made these brands famous? And you'll see that it all comes down to something incredible, that these brands have, every single one of them, whether it's a Red Bull, or it's a Zara, or it's a Facebook, or any of these other brands that you use that's on your phone, has grown by word of mouth. Somebody told you about it. Somebody said you must use it. Somebody said you have to be on it. And that word of mouth has come not by accident. That word of mouth has come from understanding empathy with that consumer and figuring out what is that one thing that that consumer lacks that I can offer and I can provide. And what can I do in such a way that I can design it into the product. My point really is, I'm coming down to this, that each of these brands that are these winner brands, whether it's a Red Bull, or it's a Zara, or a Facebook, or a WhatsApp, or an Amazon, are brands that have been designed well. And if you design a brand well enough, you don't need to waste money on advertising. That's really the big lesson out here. Your margins are up. You don't have to buy media. You don't have to pay 10, 15% commission over or under the table. You don't have to pay, film directors like, ex-film directors like me with oversized egos and oversized, pocketbooks to go and make films. Your consumers talk about it for you. So for me, a long time, when at least I've been putting my own money into companies, the quest has always been, how do I work with a startup? And how do I help that startup figure out a product in such a way that that startup's products get talked about by word of mouth? And that's really where design comes in. One of our investees is a chain of resorts in Uttaranchal in Uttarakhand. And we worked with a design team from Pune and somebody else from Bombay. And we worked really hard, and the insight was very, very simple. The insight was that it was just in kind of a blah resort. You go to a hill station in Uttarakhand, you'll find something out there. But the insight we found here after talking to people was most of the resorts in each of these hill stations was built of people who'd say, chalo, Ranikhet chalte hain. Spotting करके आते हैं, what are all the sightseeing spots? वो 3-4 spot देख के आ जाते हैं. And the problem with that is, if we attract the audience that comes for sightseeing, they'll never come back to you again because they've seen the sights already. So we said, okay, we don't want the sightseeing audience. So who do we want? So then we settled on this entire audience saying, we want the audience that's been there, done that, been to every place in the world, and wants actually a place to relax that's beautiful, right? They're not there to sightsee. And we changed the definition of the resort as a place where you sleep between sightseeing expeditions to a place where that's where you stay and there's no sightseeing that will happen. So we've actually rebranded, redesigned, re-architected. So we worked with a graphic design team, an architecture team, a branding team as an investor. And I'm happy to tell you that the very first resort that we actually redid, the sales went up 120% in the first month with no advertising again. This is something in Satdal, right? So it's just the power of empathy, design, and really having insight into the consumer. I've learned over time that these are the things that work. Now, if I look at great companies, what's really interesting about this, and this is where it is that these companies tend to do it time and again. Google started with search. It won search. Said, okay, they went to something entirely unrelated which has nothing to do with search, called email, and it won email. How did it win search? It won search through an insight saying, people don't want crap results. We will give people results that other people like. That won Google search. What did it do in email? Its insight was simple. Hotmail forced you to delete your attachments. We will never force you to delete anything because we are like pack rats. We don't like losing stuff. So they just came and said, one day they said 1 GB free storage. The whole world in 3 months had moved over to Gmail. Game over. You did that too, right? Today it's 7, 8 GB free email. Then they chose something else altogether, Maps, and they won that. Right? Then they tried social, Google Plus, they lost that. But then they tried mobile phone's operating system with Android, and they won that. Now they're doing driverless cars. They're doing stuff on the moon. Now, the interesting thing about a company is you're not seeing a thread through here. There is no connection between settling on the moon, a driverless car, maps, email, and search. Other than the fact there's a company out there that understands that designing is the way to win. And Google doesn't have an ad budget. It's built a $70 billion revenue line without having to advertise. All right? And you will see this again and again. Apple, which started, it built the Mac, it failed somewhere, it came back with a PowerBook, built the Newton, failed there, came back with the iPhone, it won with the, with the iPod, it won with the iPad, and now it's looking after the watch. Basically, there's no connection between any of these. And the really interesting thing, and this is really a barometer of how good you are, remember the iPhone. iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, iPhone 4 never were advertised. And these are the phones you truly desired and craved. Then, Steve Jobs died. The shit started. iPhone 5, big advertising. iPhone 6, even bigger advertising. And you'll see it again. These are the phones which are actually not competitive. In almost, I keep saying, your design and marketing IQ is inversely proportional to your marketing budget. So what do I expect of the companies that are there out there? And why is this in some ways worrying? And why is this in some ways interesting? One, here's the interesting part, that today, more so than ever, there's a greater need of design firms. We use it all the time. But two, I do know this, if any of my companies truly becomes big, I will stop using a design firm because I will want the design to be in-house, inside that company. Google and Microsoft and Apple don't use design firms for their secret projects. They're done in-house. When it's really critical, and increasingly that design will be really critical to a company's success, all of you guys in design firms will have to think, hey, are we going to be left doing the also-rans because really big guys who are innovating are simply going to take this all in-house? That's a while coming, but it's going to be a great time because what's really democratizing about this entire thing is you no longer need a 100 crore ad budget. You no longer need Unilever's 2,000 crore ad budget to win. Unilever is on the decline right now, and that's because of a lot of brands that are actually fighting with better design and better insight, and not necessarily with big ad budgets where some agencies make commissions and somebody else gets a fee. The world is changing. It's becoming far, far more design focused. I can tell you that as an investor, I can't even imagine getting into a company without designing it first. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be an interesting time. I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.